And good afternoon, everybody, from Bolero, Wauwatosa, in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. This is the 3 p.m. squad. Of course, for those of you being Eastern time, 2 p.m. here in Wauwatosa. The second last squad of the 2023 PBA League Bowler Certification National Championships. Once again, I'm $2 Phil Brillo in the booth with you. We'll bring you a little bit of Kris Prather as well. Kris making an appearance up here today at Bolero, Wauwatosa. He's busy with a lesson right now. It's one of the cool things about the whole run of the LBC National Championships here is that if you want the opportunity to take a lesson with a PBA Tour professional such as Sean Rash, such as Kris Prather, such as tomorrow, Frankie Lavoie, such as Kevin McCune, such as on our opening weekend, Norm Duke. You had that opportunity to do so. Take a lesson with some of the best in the world. And as we mentioned, this is the second to last squad of this event. For the 5 divisions in competition weekend in and weekend out for these last 6 prior weekends. In the Open Classic, Senior Classic, Women's Classic, and then Men's Handicap and Women's Handicap divisions. Let's give you a quick rundown, and if you missed any of this information, you can always go to Facebook, the PBA League Bowler Certification Facebook page. And get all the information that you need. But let's give you your players in each division and those top scorers coming into this final weekend. Some big scores shot last Saturday afternoon and evening as our leaders in the Open Classic, Women's Classic, and Senior Classic all came out of last Saturday. Your leader in the Open Classic division, Trey Heinrichsmeyer, 15-28, including a 300 the last game. Derek Kindig held on that lead for a couple of weeks. Kindig down in the second, 15-07. Carlton Chambers, SIBO in third in the Open Classic division at 14-83. Another big score out of the Women's Classic division from Verity Crowley on the Saturday morning squad last weekend at 15-22. I thought from the weekend before with Danielle McEwen, I thought that one was going to be a tough one to top off and knock off. But Verity did it. McEwen still in second, though, 14-79. Kayla Pashina, who had a 300 game as part of her set, 14-24 for her 6-game total. And in the Senior Classic division, yep, I'm a homer. I'm here in Wisconsin. I've known Lenny Borst Jr. for decades. And glad to see Lenny. Well, he didn't sneak in the lead. He just full-on pounced on it last week. 15-03, including 825 for his first 3 for Lenny Borst Jr. Chris Barnes second in the Senior Classic division at 14-20. Jason Couch 14-15 and third. In the Women's Handicap division, Belinda Maple, your leader, 14-20 with her added handicap pins. Thelma Valley second, 14-01. Jessica Bennett, 13-89 in third for Women's Handicap. And Hunter Lawless, boy, you put up a number of the men's handicap that's been tough to beat. 14.96 scratch to go with a few handicap pins to get to 15.44. Ralph Costa second, 15.01. And Xavier Gillick third, 14.89. So after this weekend is complete, one squad remain tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. here in Wauwatosa. And we will have our finalists determined. That will go to Bayside Bowl in September and have the opportunity to bowl on a Fox Sports 1 taping. Battle for an additional $100,000 in prize money on that show. 9 players are advancing out of these LBC National Championship fields. The other 3 will be advancing out of the Elite Pro Division on Monday night. More on that momentarily. And once again, $100,000 on the line once these players get to Portland. And that includes $60,000 to the winner of that single ball eliminator. It's such an equalizer for the handicap division players and the pros. 1 ball, whoever's low count in that particular round gets eliminated. If a couple players throw a 7 count, everybody else gets 8 or higher. See you next time, guys. You're done for the night. So it's going to be interesting as that proceeds. Who's going to be out first? That'd be a neat bet. Hopefully somebody will post odds on that when that happens. First player eliminated from the LBC National Championships show in Portland. Will it be a PBA Tour professional? Will it be a Open Classic division player? Will it be the women's handicap or men's handicap representative? We just don't know until it happens. That's going to be fun. So once again, we talked Monday night, the Elite Pro Division. Players that finished in the top 50 in points and wanted to participate in the PBA LBC National Championships from the Pro Tour will have the ability to do so Monday night. 6 games across 12 lanes, just like you see these players doing today. They'll get their 5 minutes of practice before they get started, and then away they'll go. But they're competing for a separate prize fund. And as we mentioned earlier, the top 3 players from Monday Night Squad will advance into that roll-off on FS1 in September. It's a tentative August 1st air date for that taping at Bayside Bowl. Be good to see Charlie Mitchell tomorrow from Bayside Bowl. He's coming in to bowl the final squad of the LBC National Championships. Couple lefties here on the squad. We'll take a peek at a couple of them momentarily. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll get Kris Prather in the booth once he's completed with the lesson he's providing. How cool is that? Come to a national tournament, get your chance to win the Norm, that gorgeous trophy. That weighs about 35 pounds. Solid brass for Norm. And get a lesson with a great PBA pro. So you see a local player from the Waukesha, Steve Barron, taking his shot. Yeah, if you're watching from around Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, into lower Michigan, and you haven't bowled the LBC yet, you can still enter online, pba.com/LBC tournament. Get your entry in, activate your League Pals account if you don't have one yet, and you can still get in on that 2 o'clock local time squad tomorrow here at Bolero Wauwatosa. Still a few spots left, not many though. It's pretty close to full. So if you're thinking about coming in last minute, don't think you're going to be able to just walk in. I would definitely sign up online beforehand make sure you have your spot confirmed, and then make your way here to Bolero Wauwatosa. You can always sign up for singles and doubles, doubles and team with other players once you arrive on site. Of course, all event long, players have had the opportunity to sign up not just with other friends and bowlers on squads after they bowl, but they've also had the opportunity to partner up with any of those players on that Elite Pro squad coming up Monday night. So, right here, Jeremy Bloor decided before he started bowling today, not the way he's leaving 8 pins. Yikes. If he decided he wanted to have Jacob Buttripp as his partner, he could have signed up, paid the entry fee for both of them, since Jacob hadn't bowled yet. And then, there you go. You get to partner with the PBA Tour Professional. You partner with anybody that bowled as long as they had not bowled yet. We saw several instances of teams signing up where players were spread out over 3, if not even 4 weekends due to schedules and the ability to get here. And that's been one of the great parts of this LBC National Championship. You don't need to bowl at the same time your doubles partner is bowling or your teammates are bowling, as long as that entry is paid before the first bowler hits the lanes. Take a peek here in the chat. Adam, yeah, Kris, if you missed it earlier, Kris is giving a lesson right now, so we'll get Prather in here a little later during this squad. And you'll be able to ask him questions in the YouTube chat or the Facebook comments section, as we're streaming also on the PBA League Bowler Championship Facebook page. Hey, Julian, thanks for watching from France. There we go. No, you get a big tournament series in there in the fall with that promotion Bowlers Tour. There's always seems to be some PBA or PWBA pros that make that series every year. And then the gentleman who runs it, his name's slipping me right now. I apologize. But then he always does the commentary in the native French, and then he gets Bruce Hall, PBA 50 player, to do the commentary in the English version of that once they're complete. So I always enjoy watching those promotion videos, see different bowling styles from across Europe and whatever other professionals may come in from across the world. So somebody asked me about Daria Payak. Daria bowled last weekend, didn't bowl well. She was on the morning squad. I don't know her exact total, but it was just under 1,400. Oh, I'm sorry, she was on the evening squad. Daria was on the evening squad last week in the 7 p.m. local time squad. Her and her boyfriend, Giorgio Clanaz, bowled together. Giorgio had a little rough set, but he came through really strong in the end. I think he got to about 200 over. So it's good seeing both Daria and Giorgio last weekend. I don't know if there's any questions out there in YouTube land that I can answer. I know a lot of you are waiting for Kris Prather to get in the booth, and don't blame me there. So let's see in the chat. I'm going to ask the question now. Who do you think is going to be in the top 3 Monday night for the Elite Professionals squad? For those top 50 point earners for the PBA Tour this past season. I'd like to see a few answers in the chat. Of course, you can get your list online on that LBC page of the players available to you that will be bowling on Monday night. I'm going to go with 2 ones I think would be kind of obvious for me to pick. and then one that kind of might be a left field for everybody. So my first pick, E.J. Tackett. Obviously, I mean, look at the World Series he had in this building. I don't care if you throw out a dead flat U.S. Open pattern. I don't care if you cliff the heck out of him. Just something about E.J. in this building. He's always bowled well in this building. So there's one of my pick for top three. My second pick, obviously another player who had an outstanding World Series in this building, Santu Tahavanainen. I wouldn't surprise me one bit with Santu's power and the knowledge he's obtained going across the house. Because don't forget, these players are also going to do six games across 12 lanes Monday night. Santu's going to have himself a pretty good evening as well. All right, here's my out of left field pick. My out of left field pick is going to be Wesley Lowe Jr. I think with the patterns being a little more non-tour like with this LBC National Championships pattern being about 5-1, I think it's going to let Wesley loosen up the arm swings. Obviously, two-handed. Both arms swing. And I think just the format, too, is going to be, hey, it's just 6 games across 12. It's a race. There's no match play. There's no cut. There's nothing like that. I think it's going to let Wesley Lowe Jr. get into his favorable environment first in his brain, really. And then make his way, maybe he'll make his way into Portland for that FS1 show for these LBC National Championship finalists. That's my dark horse. That's my outside pick. So I got EJ and Santu, which is pretty much givens right there, the way they had outstanding World Series of bowling efforts, and then Wesley Lowe Jr. Billy Ball, 5-to-fun ratio. I'll tell you what, a lot of players, again this morning, several players, solid part-time tour players or PWBA players. We had Nate Garcia in here this morning along with Elise Bolton. Put some games together, just couldn't put all 6 together. Decent scores for both of them. He's talking about Nathan Michalowski, solid PBA regional player out of right here in southeastern Wisconsin. And Nate said, boy, I could get to the hole on every shot. He made one mistake where he wasn't in the pocket all morning long. He just couldn't get the corners out, and that's always the key. You need to find a way to dig the corners out. Let's take a look down here. We got a young man. Looks like he's going to be popping a pretty big finish here. So we'll get down to him here. Matthew Masicher. Looking for 259 out of the gate, so all he's got to do here is throw the fill ball. And there you go. That's a quality start for the young man. Biggest game I've seen so far on the squad was just scanning the Lane Talk stats, and there might be a couple players that approach the 240 or 250 range. But don't forget, you can go to PBA.com, when you're in YouTube for the PBA, open up the description underneath the video you're looking at. You'll see all the links for all the other pairs in play. Keep us here on the main feed, because obviously that's the only place you're going to be able to hear Kris Prather when he comes in the booth. And I would think another game or so. I think we get him sometime during game 3. We'll get Mr. Prather. And then you can watch your favorite player on the squad as they move from pair to pair throughout the house using those links. So give you a little audio intermission for me, $2 Phil Brylow, and I'll be back with some more information about the remaining days in the PBA LBC National Championships coming up next from Bolero Wauwatosa. Let's get into game 2 here. Move around a little bit more, get you right now on 31 and 32. Some like him, most hate him. I shouldn't say that about Bill Crane. He's just a very polarizing figure. Yes, the five pin is up for Bill. I'm gonna keep my hand up, just so you know. We're not getting away from that one. So he hasn't turned around to look at the booth yet, but I'm holding him to it. So, hey, you're on camera right now too. Don't miss it. Now he saw me. I don't wish missing 5 pins on anybody. But a beer from Bill Crane would taste really good right about now. Oh, there he is. So not the start Bill was looking for, though. 181. Not a lot of high scores early in this squad. We'll get back to that young two-ender with the coming up shortly. So we'll give Crane a chance to redeem himself. I'm hoping for another 5-pin personally. So, yeah, Bill's one of those guys. He loves professional wrestling. I mean, we were talking some early ECW stuff while he was standing around before. So, you know, he knows the world needs black hats. The world needs villains, and you know, he doesn't mind playing that on occasion with bowling. So, let's get over to Matthew Masicher. So it was 259 last game. Open to start game 2. He follows it with a double. Yeah, it looks like they're waiting on a lane call. So let's get peek on another pair here. Let's see somebody we haven't seen yet. We got a front bunch on another pair. Let's get tuned in here. As Amber Lardenois, bowling in the women's handicap division. Amber, just out of youth leagues, hitting this tournament. Come on, front six. Her first adult booth curse. So a good start here in game 2 for Amber. Doesn't look like she had that good of a start in game 1. She's getting 15 pins a game a handicap, so that means she comes in around a 202, 203 average. Let's take a peek back at Seacher as he's looking to convert that single pin, and he does. And not getting to the 7-pin is Lardenois. And once again, any of the pairs in play, you can view on YouTube. So, Philip B. asking, where can we see the leaderboard? Easy, PBA.com. Right on the homepage of PBA.com, you'll see the landing page for the LBC National Championships. And there's a link there for See Stats, and that'll take you right to all the results in all the divisions. Open Classic, Senior Classic, Women's Classic, and Men and Women's Handicap. Right there, PBA.com. Click on that LBC National link on the homepage and get your standings. Let's see, Mike Hammond. Hello from Eugene, Oregon, where it's home of the Ducks and the homeless. Hey, Mike, I know a few places that can give you a battle for that. Hopefully, they got some good programs out there to help them out. So, got a viewer coming in. There's Cicero. I hope I got that right. Hello from Malaysia. Hey, good old Double Z. Mr. Zulkifli, one of my favorite players from Malaysia. And Rafiq Ismail as well. Great, powerful lefty. Haven't seen Rafiq in a few years since before the. That's one thing now, hopefully, with the pandemic starting to wind down a bit, is that we get more international competition. I know we've had some players from Canada here for the LBC National Championships. Obviously, some players that live domestically now, like Verity Crowley and Daria Payuk, bowled as well. But it'd be great to see a lot more international players come back, especially for tour events outside the World Series of Bowling. I mean, boy, the field this year, my goodness. Some years past when PBA Commissioner Tom Clark gave some exemptions to some players from a variety of countries. Some of the players you could tell were just coming in to learn, and they'd have coaches from their national program with them. And they were just picking pro bowlers for, brain cells for ideas and gameplay and lane play and equipment and everything. This year, when the World Series of Bowling was here at Peloro Wauwatosa in April, my goodness, you talk about no slackers on that international side of things. Lots of quality faces. Some almost making TV. And it's always great to see the best in the world come over to the U.S. and take on our best alongside the PBA Tour. And that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to in September with the Lucky Larson. I'll be watching that live streaming for sure. I need to find out where it is yet. Maybe I can get some information on that. I'm sure they'll probably be originating it from Sweden. I'm sure there'll be some way to view as well. I don't think that would be anything in the Bowl TV or PBA YouTube realm. I could go for a trip to Sweden in September if the PBA wants to do it. we'll get some information. Hopefully by Monday night we'll get some information for you about the Lucky Larson live streaming in September. Because not a lot of bowling to be live streamed professionally once we get through August. Let's be honest. PWBA schedule wraps up mid-August. Of course, a lot of the PBA Tour and PWBA Tour pros will be in Houston at the end of the month for the Striking Against Breast Cancer Mixed Doubles, a.k.a. the Lucy. But those events will be on Bowl TV. You know, those of you that subscribe, I'm sure the USBC greatly appreciates your subscription. I'm a subscriber as well. But for PBA events, yeah, other than Monday night squad here, the Lucy. There'll be a few players participating in the Skill Ball Challenge in Detroit in conjunction with the Teen Masters. But once again, that'll be a Bowl TV event. And then the Lucky Larson, yeah, that's it for PBA Tour action until we get to the 2024 schedule. Other than PBA Elite League, but that's all TV on FS1 except for a small qualifying round, and that once again will be on Bowl TV. So, but I'm working in conjunction with the PBA to bring bowling fans some regional live streaming throughout the remainder of 2023. Next Saturday and Sunday, I'll be in Grand Rapids, Michigan at Spectrum Lanes. Boy, you talk about a center that's hosted a lot of PBA and PWBA events over the years. Spectrum Lanes will have a standard regional next Saturday and Sunday. Monday will be an off day, and then the bowlers will be coming in from the PBA 50 WSOB. And Spectrum Lanes will be hosting a regional Tuesday and Wednesday of the following week, not this upcoming week, but the following week. And then 2 weekends from today, I'll be in Bowling Green, Ohio, Almar Lanes for the Girdman Insurance Agency Progressive Central Midwest Classic. Huge prize list, at least $6,000 for first in that event. And there's 2 easy ways for you to watch those PBA regional live streams. They originate on the respective bowling centers' Facebook pages for the main feed. So you'd have to be following Spectrum Lanes on Facebook and Almar Lanes on Facebook. Or, and it's a lot easier to do, follow all the PBA regional pages. Every PBA region has their page on Facebook. And those streams coming from the bowling centers will be simultaneously shared on the PBA Central and PBA Midwest regional pages the next couple of weeks. So make sure you like those pages. Then you can follow all kinds of regional action as it goes on across the country, because that's where you're going to get a lot of your PBA action for the remainder of 2023. So we're going to give you a little audio intermission again. Keep those questions coming in the YouTube chat or on the Facebook comments, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. Still waiting on. I haven't seen any fans put who they think will finish in the top 3. Coming up on Monday night. Be interested to see some of your picks in the chat. So we've got game 2 in the books. On this pair, we'll switch you to another pair to finish out game 2, and we'll be back with game 3, and I'm sure we will get Kris Prather in the booth sometime momentarily. And we're into game 3. Tell you what, I knew Kris Prather was pretty popular. Let's be honest. I mean, it didn't have the TV year on 2023 he was hoping for. It was a little rough for him. Had a nice showing at the PBA Tour finals a couple weeks back on CBS Sports Network. Second place finish to Kyle Troop. So Kyle now being HOF eligible. Oh, and the ever deadly chop there for Ryan Murtha. So, going to kill two birds at once with this question. Adam Abdelaziz asks, would the PBA LBC oil pattern be a good challenge shot league pattern? Meanwhile, Nick Leidick asking, what pattern are they bowling out? You can see the pattern yourself, pba.com/LBC tournament. We've had full transparency on this pattern since February. I mean, so if people wanted to take the oil pattern, lay it down in their local center, if they had the agreement from their local proprietor, the information was out there. It's 42 feet in length. It's got a nice volume in the pattern, 28 mils or so. And it's about a 5-to-1 ratio inside to out. So challenge league pattern, Adam? Yeah, I'd say if you had a bunch of varied averages in your challenge league, I'd say use it for a couple of weeks, like early in the season. Let's say you guys normally bowl, let's say sport type patterns, 4-to-1, 3-to-1 type patterns. Occasionally you like poking yourself in the eye with a U.S. Open pattern. It can be pretty good. I would, if I ran a challenge league and my bowlers are coming back from the summer break, I would actually use this LBC National Championships oil pattern for the first 2-3 weeks. If you're in a league that rotates patterns around like a lot of challenge leagues do, I'd use it, especially if there's varied averages. I'd give it a shot. So, Nick, if you're looking for that info, once again, pba.com/LBC tournament. There's a link on that tournament page. You can download all the Kegel numbers if your local bowling center has a Kegel oiling machine and has the capability to put out the LBC pattern. They would definitely be able to do that for you. You always got to check the conditioner in use. Here they're using ice conditioner. The lanes here, as we mentioned in the past at Blair Wauwatosa, they're a little well used. Lots of tournament play and league and open play over the last 20 years. That have taken wear and tear on the lanes, especially in the track area. So having that ice oil by Kegel helps the ball get a little farther down the lane, hopefully avoids the Velcro in the fronts that some places may seem to have if they're not using the correct conditioner on pretty worn lane surfaces. Once again, as we usually do with these main feeds, we try to stick with hot hands that we find throughout the day. And after another shot or two here on this pair, let's get back over and follow Matthew Messicher. As he's got 494 after 2 And he's opened up game 3 with a 3-bagger. Wow, nobody in the chat picking on any of those elite pros coming in Monday night. See who might make it to Portland. Thought we'd have a couple picks in there. Hey, no problem, Nick. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you get questions about it, too, there's some email addresses on the LBC tournament page that you can use to either get more information or throw questions at people. And, you know, any little bit that of help you need, whether it's maybe transitioning the pattern a little bit for your bowling center, maybe it's a newer lane surface, maybe ice oil might not be the best for that pattern. So Messager here gets the front 5. Good run so far for Messager. So Messager, currently a student at Weber International University. There's a surprise, a quality bowler coming out of Weber with the Kegel Training Center being part of their training program for the Weber program. Not surprised to see the young man come up here and take a shot. Looks like he's going to be class of 2025, so a couple more years to go for Messager. And if you like the way he throws the ball, as unfortunately 7-pin stands in defiance of Messager's might right there. He's on TikTok. Some bowling videos on there. As the Bowling Guy 10 on TikTok. Yeah, it doesn't look like I see any trick shots or anything on there. Just a lot of stuff from his days bowling at Weber, the Kegel Training Center. So. I think this is pretty cool. I mean, I saw Kris Prather starting to walk back down the lanes here at Bolero Wauwatosa. I think he's got another lesson. I think somebody saw Kris giving the first lesson, and I don't know if it's a friend of the guy he gave the first lesson to or what, but Kris is still down there helping somebody out. So it's one of the cool features of this. Yeah, and, sorry guys, I'm waiting to talk to him and ask him questions on YouTube. I know he'll be down here before we're done. I don't think it's going to run that long for the help he's giving down there, but it's kind of a cool thing where you had your chance to get a lesson from a PBA Tour pro. I remember watching the gentleman that had a lesson with Sean Rash. Sean had several lessons when he was here. And one of the gentlemen, Sean was in the booth with me, and he was settling up with Sean, and the gentleman who had just gotten the lessons paid Sean and then tipped him on top of it going, "This is the coolest thing ever. I've learned so much. Thank you." I mean, it's pretty cool when you get that one-on-one time with a professional and they help you with some basics, some basic things you can do on the way home and make yourself better. No doubt about it. Plus, I see some people that are going to be bowling tomorrow on our final squad of the event, final regular squad, that is, at 2 p.m. here in Bolero Wauwatosa, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, your start time tomorrow for the pair feeds. And we'll have Francois Lavoie scheduled to be in the booth during our 3 p.m. Eastern Time squad tomorrow, so you'll be able to ask Frankie questions. Taking a peek around here. Thanks to our friends at Lane Talk. It's always nice to be able to check scores all the way around as Mesker leaves another 7-pin. I think it's all he's left all day to this point, honestly. Nothing but strikes and 7-pins, at least to my memory. I know we've been keeping kind of an eye on him for the last game and a half or so. Caught him a little bit at the end of game one, and he gets the conversion. So another possible 259 on the board. And Mesker came in at 494. I mean, making the turnaround 750. Might not be too bad. Taking a look and see if anybody else has got any big runs. Thanks to our friends at Lane Talk to be able to look around the center. I do not see. Oh, I do see a front bunch on lane 62. Looks like the front 8. Chris Morrison. So just got one of our lane runners coming down to help me out with that. So we will get over to lane 62 momentarily. And boom we go. And now we have Chris Morrison. He'll be stepping up on lane 61 with his chance for 300. We're here at Bolero Wauwatosa, 3 p.m. Eastern Time squad, 2 p.m. here in Wauwatosa. Decent-sized squad here for our second last of this 2023 PBA League Bowler Certification National Championships. And we haven't had a 300 yet today. We haven't even had really a close run at a 300 today. But now we get a chance here, as you see on lane 61, Chris Morrison stepping up on the front 9. Morrison, not a good start to this point, 22 under for his first 2, and that one you just see right there. He starts stepping out going, I don't know, and away it went on him. 4-pin, but that's one of those games where it kind of becomes a series saver. take a peek here at Dallas Leong. Dallas. That's a name that's pretty familiar in the bowling game, especially in with that last name of Leong. PBA member, joined a while ago. Lots of action out west for Leong. Makes his home in the Las Vegas area. Bowled collegiately back in the day for UNLV. And back in the 2018-19 collegiate season, I mean, you look at some of these names on the National Collegiate Bowling Coaches Association first team on the men's side. Well, Matt Russo, PBA Tour guy. Michael Martell, PBA Tour. Almost took down his first major at the Masters this year. Tyler Perry out of Vincennes and Chase Nadeau. Of course, Nadeau, another name out of the Southwest. Chase's father, Dan, of course, great player for many, many years. So game 3 finishing up. Game 4 coming up next. We'll take another peek at your YouTube questions. As I said, Kris Prather got popular all of a sudden. Not a bad thing to be. It's a little more popular than $2 Phil is. I don't see anybody coming in the booth asking $2 Phil for speaking lessons or how to run a live stream. Hey, it can be arranged if you want. I can give you lessons on live streaming, commentary. They're not great lessons, but they're still lessons. And one lesson is always let people know what game they're in and what game's coming up next. We're wrapping up game 3. Game 4 coming up shortly here from Bolero Wauwatosa. Well, let's stick with the hot hand. Mesker, 753 for his first 3 games. Unfortunately now finds himself slowing down a little bit. Went high, open frame in the first. Came back with a strike, still struggling with that right lane on the pair. And this is the tough part this is the part that makes the difference between the 1,500 for your final total and the 1,350. I mean, this is one of those ones where now you have a couple errant shots. You let that one lane affect you too much. You try to figure it out, and all of a sudden you go from maybe shooting, coming back shooting, if he makes that spare, 2-teen with a couple doubles in there, a double and a 3-bagger. And then you move on to the next pair. Instead, you hope it doesn't snowball on the kid, and he goes from 210 to, 150. And then try to come back the following game, and that's where it takes those big totals down in a hurry, because all of a sudden the missed makeables on top of a couple of errant shots just start piling on. Oh, Mesker can't still figure out that right lane. Let's hope it doesn't snowball too far on him. Kyler Hathaway asking who's playing. A lot of people, most I don't know. It's the LBC National Championships, so I mean we've had almost 1,100 people bowl already at this point, and another 65 or 70 tomorrow scheduled to bowl. So waiting on that lane. So let's get over to take a peek in on 33 and 34. A couple players starting with early 3-baggers. So yeah, the big squad you want to look forward to, everybody, if you want to see the PBA Tour professionals, that's coming up Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. here at Bolero Wauwatosa, where we're going to have the elite pros come in, those that finished in the top 50 in points and accepted their invitation to bowl Monday night. And we'll give you a rundown of the names that you'll see Monday on that squad. Going in fairly alphabetical order here. We got Andrew Anderson, DJ Archer, Christian Azcona, Tom Doherty, Packy Hanrahan, Mitch Hupe, AJ Johnson, Anthony Lavery Spar, Francois Lavoie, Wesley Lowe Jr., Sean Maldonado, Wes Malott, Kevin McCune, Brad Miller, Matt Ogle, Chris Vi, Kyle Sherman, as I said, vaguely in alphabetical order, Bill O'Neill, Nick Pate, Kris Prather, Jake Peters, Arturo Quintero, Sean Rash, Ronnie Russell, Matt Russo, Tom Smallwood, Jason Sterner, EJ Tackett, Santu Tahavanainen, Darren Tang, Michael Tang, Richie Teese, Kyle Troop, Stu Williams, and AJ Chapman. "36 players you'll see on that squad Monday night. And there'll be a lot of interested fans watching as well, because players during the entire run of this event have had the opportunity, if they wanted to have any individual Elite Tour player bowl as their doubles partner using the first 3 games score for each player, or as part of a 4-player team using the second 3 games bowled by each player. That initial player could have paid the initial entry fee for all members of the doubles and or team. And even though they may have been bowling on different days, they would be eligible in those separate doubles and team prize funds. I was goofing around with Stu Williams before. He was watching his wife Tina bowl on the morning squad today here at Blair Wauwatosa, and I joked with Stu, I go, how many doubles entries you in for with other bowlers who have bowled before you in this event? And Stu goes, I think 3. He goes, I'm no EJ. Yeah, but you are Stu Williams, and hey, any player's got a great chance on this pattern to put together a big 3-game set and take home a lot of monies, whether in the first 3 games for the doubles or the second 3 games of that 6-game block for the 4-player team. All right, let's take a peek back in when Matthew Messiker comes back up. And he's having some struggles. 3 opens, no doubles through 7 frames for the man who was easily head and shoulders above other players on this squad through the first 3 games. And now he's falling right back to the field here on 51 and 52. We'll get over the Messiker before Landon Robbins steps up looking for his 7th in a row possible for Robinson. That is a brutal 10-pin. Absolutely brutal for Messiker. Yikes. He finally gets one. Dead flush in the pocket. Well, actually, hold on. He's hit a couple of shots on that left lane earlier, but yeah, yikes. And smashing a 10. Well, there you go, front 7 for Landon Robinson. Robinson, not a great total coming in. Under 200 average for his first 3 games. Looking to really turn things around in a hurry here in game 4. On the front 7. So the leader on our squad, Messiker, he's going to be able to strike out in the 10th for 184. And I don't want to say it's going to put his chances of trying to be in the top 3 to an end. But it's going to take a miracle the last 2 games to do it. Front 8, Landon Robinson. Landon definitely enjoys his bowling. It's on TikTok as Landon R 800, aspiring pro bowler, it says. So Messiker looking to get up in the 10th momentarily. We'll give the old flip-flop back and forth once we see who takes to the lanes first, whether it's going to be Messiker or Landon Robinson. Robinson will be looking for his 9th strike. Let's go Messiker. Messiker gets the first one in the 10th, trying to make the save. As we said, with only 2 to go, going to be hard pressed to try to make the top 3 overall, as the top 3 in the Open Classic are the ones that are going to be making their way to Portland. How about that for Robinson? Didn't like it out of his hand, waved it off, and shredded the rack. If you're going to make the miss, apparently make it a big one on this LBC 42-foot National Championships pattern. Messiker stepped out on that shot, and you see why. He couldn't hold his balance, and he's going to be in the 170s. And he's basically going to have to be perfect the last 2 games to have any chance to get to Portland. He'll still take himself home a pretty decent paycheck. I mean, finished with a couple of 250s like he started with. And there you go. But as we mentioned, sometimes the big difference between getting to 1,500 and then only getting to 1,350, because now that $170 something's dwelling on your brain. Try to dump the memory banks and start from scratch. So momentarily coming into the left side of your screen, lanes 33 and 34. You're going to see Landon Robinson. Looking for his 10th strike in a row. And there it is. Let's give you a look through the crowd here at Robinson as he gets back up on the approach. Looking for his 11th strike in a row. Here's a shot from the back cam. We got the crowd cam and the back cam as he gets a little high five action in from his lane mates. And Robinson going to be looking for perfection here at the LBC National Championships. We're sitting at 12 for the perfect game count. To this point, Farrell Williams hit us up last Sunday for number 12. Can Landon Robinson get us number 13 as he gets to the front of the approach? Is it perfection? 6 kicks the 10. And there you go. You see Landon Robinson on the way back. Some high fives, some finger pointing, some smiles from his fans. And there we go. 300. You got to come back, Landon. Can't walk away. Perfection here at the LBC National Championships. So we're wrapping up game 4. We'll get Kris Prather set up here in the booth shortly. Get those questions into the YouTube chat, and we'll have Kris on momentarily. And did you catch the end of that 300 game there, Kris, over on 33 and 34?
No,
Landon Robinson.
I did not. I did not. I was too busy talking.
I was telling fans before because a couple people were where we were. I'm like, he had a lesson, and then people got him, and he had another. And I said, he's just Mr. Popular today. I've seen more players on the lanes talk to you behind the lanes during a squad than I've ever seen so far to this point. It's a good day for you.
Yeah, it also helps that I'm a pretty talkative person in general. Yeah. So, my 1 hour lesson turned into about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Guy's name was Jesse. He had a bunch of questions, very interested in learning, so obviously happy to help somebody learn who's got a couple years experience but really wants to just get better. So,
okay.
Now we're I'm actually a little disappointed I didn't get to sit here and watch the 300 game.
Yeah, we'll get the highlight. We'll get it clipped up and we'll get it highlighted out on good old YouTube and other things. So it looks like we got a little bit of a break here. So we'll let you grab a bottle of water here. We'll let the fans do the same. And we'll get some players moved around the lanes. Look, everybody's moving at the same time. So, yeah, get those questions in the YouTube chat or the Facebook comments for Kris Prather, and we'll be back with Game 5 from the PBA LBC National Championships in just a moment. All right, Game 5 underway here at Bolero Wauwatosa. Joining me in the booth once again. Man, it was this close to taking down another PBA title a couple of weeks back. We were watching it here on the big screens while it was going on that Sunday with yourself and Kyle Troop and the man in the booth.
Yeah, you know, they advertised or mentioned that I'm undefeated against Belmo on TV.
Yeah.
What they failed to mention is Kyle is undefeated against me.
But how many is it? 4-0, like your record against Belmo, or?
My record against Belmo is 4-0, but I think my record against Kyle is like 0-4, 0-6, something. I mean, it's very similar. So you know, some guys.
But a nice little capper to, you know, honestly, when we talked to some of the guys, and we had AJ Johnson here a couple of weeks ago, and I go, if you ask these guys, they're going to tell you it's the worst season they ever had in 2023. And AJ was like, yeah, my season sucked. Like, hold on, you made TV, and you know it was good, but it's not up to your standards, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely not the worst season I ever had. My rookie year was the worst season I ever had. I still made cuts. I still had a pop at a show or two. I explained this yesterday on my live session I had on the House Bowling Channel.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was bowling scared a lot this year because I've only ever been injured one other time, but that injury previously in 2018 led to all the titles. Okay. Honestly, because I hurt my back. I was laid up for like 3 or 4 months where I couldn't bowl, nothing like that. I had to do a bunch of PT and workout. And then immediately the following, that's right when I made like all those shows in Tulsa.
Yep.
I made the U.S. Open show. The very start of the season, I made the Players show, the double show, and then ended up winning my first title and the playoffs that next year. And this year, you know, obviously I've had the taste of success. I've been in the running for Player of the Year and everything like that. And this year, I really was devoted to making another run at Player of the Year, so I didn't want to stop bowling. And in reality, I probably should have taken 2 or 3 weeks off and allowed myself to heal, but instead I bowled through it, and it really cost me in the long run, I think.
Okay. So we got some questions coming in the chat. If you got any questions for Kris, ask them in the YouTube feed, ask them in the Facebook comments. 3-4 people tell me thanks for giving Bill Crane crap. Hey, absolutely. That's what I'm here for, no doubt about it. Hey, Frankie and Ding Dong checking in from Portland. You can't wait to get back
I know.
there, can you?
Love Portland.
3-time defending titleist.
Defending.
And the draft's coming up Tuesday.
Yep. I will be in the truck on the way to Florida to run a camp and a trios event that I run every year down in Pensacola. So I will be probably on the phone with Timmy Mack and Kyle Troop and Wes Malott going through who we're going to pick. We would obviously love for every team ahead of us to make the biggest blunder and not pick Packy Hanrahan. But unfortunately, I don't think 7 managers can be wrong in a row.
So this is kind of breaking news then, because it really hasn't been revealed who's going to be gone in the draft. So is it going to be you, Wes, and Kyle protected then?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably. Hopefully. I'm saying that, and then Timmy's like, hey, brother, sorry, man.
Yeah.
We're actually going to drop you and hope you fall to 9th or 10th or whatever we're picking. 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
they got 10 and 11. They got back to back.
Yeah.
So
I forget how many teams there
were. We were talking on the Spare Time podcast. We taped it Tuesday, and it was we taped it like immediately after press release came out. We were talking a little bit about the situation with your team, and you know, there's always been this chat, and it's not just among your team, it's not just among the Lumberjacks, but other teams as well. If a team wins the Elias Cup, they should be able to stay together for the next year. I like that. I mean, there's been players that I like that as a rule. As a fan, I like that. Somebody come in and knock that same bunch of guys off.
The other thing that I like is instead of it being a mandatory, like you have to drop 3
Right.
or 2, you have the opportunity to drop if you want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the issue with that is if a rookie or someone like a Kevin McCune comes out, has a great season, wins, and no one wants to drop anybody.
Right.
No one wants to let anybody go. Then you lose the opportunity for those individuals. The other thing that I like is because we've had a lot of rumors about expanding upon the league, because the league is so exciting, what if instead of finding new teams, we have different divisions, right? Like how colleges have a varsity team and then a JV team, or, select developmental, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
You have, 2 Portland Lumberjack teams.
Yeah, you got the farm system. You got the Lumberjacks and the Lumber Kids or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever. And have, separate divisions, or even, hell, have them be the same, same team owners, but, one's AAA and one's Major League, whatever. And expanding upon it that way, because then, yes, you are getting new faces, but you're also not stretching it so thin to where you're getting, like, the guy that's in 167th in points and only bowled regionals, right?
Right.
And nothing against that guy, or those individuals, but realistically, we're trying to get the Kevin McCunes, and I'm thinking, like a Dallas Leong, who's a competitive player that is figuring out his way through the tour life, and giving them an opportunity to bowl in an atmosphere that most people would just dream to have.
Yeah. I mean, that can be pretty cool too, where, you get a bunch of you get a bunch of guys that missed the top 50 in points and they're not exempt. They don't have a win from previous years. And you take those guys, and even if it's only maybe like 16, you don't have enough guys that are out there full time, let's say. So you only have 6 teams or something like that. But you take those guys that are on the winning team, and then they get to not bowl rabbits the next year. Or something like that. Like a little, like you said, a little farm system kind of thing. So, okay, here's your 1-year exemption from rabbits, and that's it. Now, from here on out, you either make a league roster, win a title, or you're done.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it would put a lot of pressure on them, but it should be on tour.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any handouts.
The other thing I proposed, and obviously this was the last couple of years, I don't know that I've ever said this out loud on a stream or anything like that. But I've always viewed the bowling events as a stepping stone to try to get to the PBA Tour, right? And regionals included in that, right? Amateur events included in that.
Right.
And anytime anyone asks me, hey, what do I got to do to make it on tour? And because it's my personal experience and what was successful for me, my belief is you start at, either youth or amateur level, and then bowl a couple regionals, then work your way up to PTQs, make it out of the PTQs, make it on the tour, things like that, a stepping stone.
Right.
And the basis of what I sent Tom Clark a couple of years ago, because we were talking about PTQs, not PTQs, what are we going to do? I offered up a regional tour program exemption. Okay. So right now we have it to where a non-member can bowl in 2 regionals, or they can bowl in regionals until they cash twice, right? And then after that, if you want to keep bowling, you have to buy your card, right? Totally fine, right? My suggestion was, in order to make it out onto the PBA Tour as a rookie, because all of the regionals are typically in the summer after the tour is over into the fall, you use that regional program to say, okay, if you cash in your 2 regionals, you're allowed to bowl PTQs, okay?
Yeah.
Because obviously you can make a cut. You're good enough to bowl against high-level competition.
Right.
So you've also had the experience of dealing with the lane courtesy, dealing with the lane patterns, dealing with other individuals that are typically out on tour. Then, if you cash in 2, you get to bowl PTQs. If you win, no PTQs.
Okay.
Okay, that's only if you win.
Yeah.
Right. If you finish second 3 times, sorry about your luck. You still have the PTQs.
Right.
Now, obviously, we have our point system out on tour. Let's say you win a regional, you come out on tour, don't have to bowl PTQs, you finish outside the top 50. Okay. You then have the summer to try to requalify for the next year.
There you go.
Right? Obviously, the top 50 would be exempt, not have to bowl PTQs, would not have to bowl regionals, anything like that. Obviously, tour titleists, national tour titleists would be exempt, not have to bowl PTQs, all that. And it gives the people that want to come out on tour an opportunity to work their way up without investing tens of thousands of dollars right away and being just thrown in with the Sharks and, you know, and not necessarily being in over their head, because someone can certainly come out, have a great year, and potentially win out of the Rabbit squad. We saw it in the early 2000s, mid 2000s all the time.
Yeah.
But with how short the formats are and everything like that, it's really difficult for new players to pick up on the nuances and the changes from even the regional tour to the national tour, because honestly, our events are very quick-paced, and they're in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So giving them the opportunity to bowl year-round and making it more of a stepping stone regional program, in my opinion, is what I would love to see the next step be on the PBA Tour.
Along the lines of what you said, where it's tough to come out of a college thing and win nowadays, as compared to, like you said, mid 2010s, you'd still see the Kents and you'd see guys come out and be competitive. Why is it so tough for? I was mentioning, Wesley Lowe could do something here, 6 games on Monday night, and make his way to Portland for the elimination finals for this LBC National Championships, because it's a different format and his outlook might feel a little different. And he knows it's not a cut, it's not this, it's not this, it's not that. He could catch fire and make it. Why is it so tough for the Wesley Lowe Juniors and a lot of other players that come out of college to make an impact, not even in 2 years on tour or even 3 years on tour? What's so different now than 8-10 years ago?
Well, the biggest thing is the length of the formats.
Okay.
Right? Everything we bowl now is pretty much a 6-game sprint. And in comparison to back then, you had, 8-game blocks, and you bowled 3 days guaranteed pretty much with practice, right? Now you might get 1. You get practice and then 1 day of competition, and it's only 6 games. So in that time, you get one opportunity to see the transition, and then you have a week off. And maybe you go back and work on some things, but then the next week they transition differently. So then you have to compile and take notes on all the things that you're seeing and being able to siphon through that. Whereas back in the early 2000s, you bowled 30 weeks a year, right?
Yeah.
And it was every week for 30 weeks. Now we bowl a week, maybe you get a week off, then you come back, bowl maybe another day, then you have a week off, and you come back, maybe bowl 1 more day. Whereas, back then you had 2 days guaranteed, 8 games a day. You saw more transition. You saw more nuances of the game that are out here, so people could learn faster. And it didn't take them near as long. It took me 4 years, right, just to make cuts consistently. And now, granted, I feel like me 6 years ago versus me now, light years apart, right? The knowledge, the confidence, the ability to visualize what's happening on a lane. I can do it so much faster than what I could back then. That's one thing. But I also had those 4 years of trial and error and missing cuts, being frustrated, and working on my game. And, Marshall was the last guy to really do it back in, 2011?
Yeah.
Or 2010. He was still in college and making TV shows.
Right.
So the other aspect of it is college is a team sport, right? You have other guys to rely on. You go from team bowling, having a coach there every single shot to talk to and other players to discuss what you're seeing, which a lot of us out on tour do work together, but ultimately it's still singles competition. I'm a lot less likely to help out a Packy Hanrahan when it could be the difference, which Packy's one of my best friends on the planet.
Right.
And I want to see him succeed. But
not at your expense.
not at my
or your paycheck. Yeah.
My paycheck. Yeah, exactly. Like if I'm not bowling, absolutely I'm going to sit there, I'm going to cheer on my friend, I'm going to help him if he wants it. But if I'm bowling a match against him, I'm not going to be like, hey man, I know you 6-pinned on there.
Right.
I wouldn't move though. I would just add a little loft. Like I'm not going to tell him that. I'm going to let him move, and I'm going to let him 3-7 and give me the lead.
Exactly. Holy crap. Landon Robinson, 300 last game. He has a chance for 279 this game.
I need to watch what he's doing.
Yeah, he was at 598 after his first 3. I mean,
man, making a big run here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be top 3 run, but if he can get to 220, 230 over by the time the day is done, that'll be a nice little check once.
Yeah, honestly, anytime I bowl an event, it's not whether you win or lose. It's do I break even or do I make money?
Yeah.
Right. If I can break even, it's a good day. Make money, it's a great day.
So it's pretty interesting. We started all this off with PBA League and kind of went down from there. But PBA League draft Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Bowl TV is where you're going to get to see it. The results will be out instantly, obviously, on PBA.com once it's done and such, if you missed the draft live. And, yeah, there's going to be some interesting choices for a lot of teams this year. Who do they hold? Who don't they hold? Who can they pick back up? I mean, it's easy for the kingpins because whoever they drop, they're going to be a number 1 pick.
Yep.
So if they want to pick somebody back up, they can do it. Otherwise, I don't think Pete Weber is coming back. I know Pete walked off the lanes last year after TV and said, I can't do this with the kids anymore. So I don't see Pete coming back. And Michael Tang didn't have that good of a year, so you got Marshall Kent, Darren Tang, and Kyle Sherman for CDB. I think CDB's bowling here tomorrow on the 2 o'clock squad.
Okay.
So Liz Johnson's supposed to be here at the 2 o'clock squad as well. So we'll have
firepower.
We'll have Frankie Lavoie in the booth with me tomorrow, so to wrap everything up and at a pretty big squad. You can still get in if you're in driving distance, or hey, Nate Garcia and Elise Bolton flew in last night and flew out today.
Yep.
So if you want to make the trip up, PBA.com/LBC tournament to get yourself entered. One last squad, there's still a little room. Do that.
Yeah, you can bowl doubles with me if you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know how many doubles partners you had? Stu said he had 3.
I think I have 4.
Okay.
I think I have 4 or 5. I got some emails from the buddy bowlers or something like that. The league.
Good.
League app.
Yeah.
So at least a couple.
Yeah, it was pretty painful last week. Lenny Boris Jr., PBA Hall of Famer this year.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing when he was done. I go, how many doubles? Because he had 8 1/4 for his first 3. How many doubles partners do you have? None. Oh, man, Lenny.
Dude.
He goes, I had a pocket full of money, and he goes, nobody really wanted to get in with me. I'm like, why not? You're on your home turf.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're a home game for you, and nobody got in with you. Yikes.
Like,
I'm sure he'll never have that problem again.
Yeah. Hall of Famer. I don't want to bowl with you. That's okay.
So we're finishing up Game 5. Get those questions in for Kris. We got them for one more game before we're done. And we'll ask those during Game 6. So load them up in the YouTube chat. Game 6 coming up next. All right, game 6 starting to roll. Not a lot, honestly, of big scores. Any early starts, especially with Matthew Mesker. He fell off in a hurry, and unfortunately for Landon Robinson, he's gone 300 in a big game in Game 5, but starting off with 598 for your first 3, you're not going to get in the lead. And if he shoots 300 the last game, Robinson's just not going to have enough to get there. You can max out at 1476, so that'd be just outside the top 3 overall. It's the top 3 in the Open Classic division that are making it to that event in Portland. Joining me in the booth once again, Kris Prather. We got some questions piling up. Hey, we got some questions from Dallas Young apparently right now coming into the booth. So, what was that?
I just watched you do it one time.
There you go.
It is now the Kris Prather Uber and Grubhub service.
Oh, you guys stop at a drive-thru on the way to the airport for him?
No, I think we're going to stop off, get dinner somewhere, and then I'll take him to the airport.
Okay.
So
I was going to say, there's not too many late flights leaving to Las Vegas out of Milwaukee on Saturdays that I remember.
Honestly, he could be leaving out of O'Hare.
Oh, that's true, too.
Yeah, which I drive right by. So
beautiful.
Not exactly out of the way either way.
Way. So, yeah,
okay.
Definitely a better chance at O'Hare for him.
What kind of questions
All
we
right,
got?
what do we got here? Chris, when bowling sport shots, how do you know what ball is the right one to use before adjusting other factors like speed, hand position, etc.? So basically, anytime you're on the lanes of the PBA Tour, how do you know it's not you and it's the ball?
I pretty much always blame the ball. Only because, I've spent 20 years trying to perfect my physical game and being able to throw shots consistently. So unless I feel it majorly wrong, it's probably the bowling ball, or maybe the lane is changing a little bit. But as far as making a deductive reasoning decision, I always start with the strongest ball and the slowest reaction to friction that the lanes allow me to throw.
Okay.
Right? So obviously if I'm bowling on 27 feet, I'm not going to throw a gem. Right? I'm not going to throw that because there's too much friction there, so it's probably going to hook too much. That's probably where a urethane ball comes into play, where it's still a smooth shape but significantly weaker than one of those bowling balls. So it's really about knowing your equipment, knowing your abilities, and making adjustments based off of how well you know your game. So it's time on the lanes, time with your equipment, and making, I don't want to say concise, but making decisions calmly, I guess. You see a lot of guys get really frazzled easily where they split and they're like, why did that happen? And instead of being thinking back okay, feeling, being in tune with your body, oh man, I walked a little faster, so I threw it harder, or I caught it more, so, this happened. And just being honest with yourself, everyone throws a bad shot. I am in no way perfect, but I'm very honest with myself in being able to realize how I throw it and being able to make adjustments while taking that into account.
And to build on that, we were watching you, like I said, earlier, you and Kyle Troop in those finals, from the PBA Tour finals at Angel and Wins Casino. Somebody used the term magician for you when you were using urethane during the last couple of matches, because they said you were just tricking the hell out of it.
Yeah, and
is that? I know that's part of your decision-making process, but was there ever a thought of getting out of it?
Yeah, at one point, especially against Belmo, because I had the luxury of watching him from directly behind on that shorter pattern.
Okay,
and he was throwing a phase 2, I think it was, and had great ball motion. So I'm watching him strike every single time, and I'm like, man, that looks really good. And that's part of the reason why I switched to the Summit in the fill ball. I didn't obviously know the score. I openly said that on TV.
Yeah.
But I was heavily thinking about it, and I was just trying to make the lanes as similar as I could.
Okay.
Right? Obviously, you're bowling on different patterns, but the bowling center itself is going to have natural characteristics. So once the urethane ball started to leave that like half 10 where it was kind of like a weak 10, but it could still strike if I threw it a little bit better, I was like, okay, well, how can I make this adjustment to where I can get that half 10 out and still create some miss room? So I started adding loft. I started adding rotation a little bit.
Yeah.
I started trying to hit it a little harder, increase the rev rate, and make that ball get a little higher on the head pin so that way it could kick that 10 out.
Yeah.
And because ultimately, like, the difference between a half 10 and a strike is like an inch down lane when it hits the head pin.
Right.
Right? It's not that big of a change, but I had to do all of those things to accommodate that 1 inch.
Yeah. And the number of times that base of the 6-pin kicked the 10 forward was awesome.
Oh, my God.
Watching Randy just befuddled by it was great. I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, on the fourth one, I was like, man, now if only I could get the trip 4-2, like that would be, I would
pure money right
yeah,
there.
it was incredible, because every time I left it, I was like, that's a wrap 10, okay, cool, and then I wish I need to go back and watch the slow-mos of whatever it was hitting that 10 forward.
And it was funny. It was the bottom of this, like the pin would rotate around. It was the bottom of the 6-pin that would hit the 10.
That's awesome.
Because I'm like thinking to myself, it's got to be like the top of the. Nope. It would rotate so fast around from being hit so hard and so firm that it would actually get almost 2 full rotations in by the time it took the 10 out. It was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because, obviously that's something that you don't really see.
No.
And the only thing I could really accommodate that to is obviously I was throwing it relatively firm for what I typically throw it. And also in the casino, Angel of the Winds, their sidewalls are new. Yeah. So the pins fly around a lot more. So it's transferring a lot of energy to that pin off the sidewall, helping it rotate.
Yeah.
Every time it fell forward, I was like, wow, how many times am I going to get that? And it was just about every single time. It was pretty cool.
Jake Bogarski's got a question. Kris, any part of your game based on Chris Barnes? I feel you're similar to him in being a great shot maker and mind of bowling. Obviously, both out of the Shocker system at Wichita State. Is there something that's constantly taught down there by – you got Gordon Vatican, obviously, for years. Now you got Mark Lewis and Rick Steele-Smith and everybody else that helps out with that program down there. Is there something that goes on the physical end of things, or is it more on the mental end of things that everybody kind of has the similar thought process or pre-shot? Or
for me, I talked about this once before. And growing up, my thing on how I learned was I would watch somebody and then I would go and mimic them, right? And I mimicked Chris Barnes as a kid, and I'll never admit it to his face, right? Because he'll never let me live it down. So if anybody in this stream repeats it to him, I'm not going to be happy with you. But I will forgive you eventually.
Chris might be watching from he's got the World Series of Bowling PBA 50 practice session right now.
But everyone always praised Chris on being incredibly repeatable, meaning he repeated shots very, very well, and he was accurate. So anytime I would watch that, I would mimic how his physical characteristics were, meaning straight arm swing, right? Stable head throughout the entire shot, consistent foot tempo, footwork, right? Things that were repeatable, right? And important to the delivery of a bowling ball. The last part of that was his versatility, right? He could play straight, he could loft the left gutter, all of those different things. Like, he was the best bowler in the world for a reason. Yeah. And so, I mimicked a lot of things from Chris Barnes growing up, even before I got to Wichita. The other guy that I really looked at and wanted to throw it like was Robert Smith, Maximum Bob. You know, he created so much power. He created all kinds of crazy shapes on the lanes.
Yeah.
But, again, going back to versatility, he could play straight. He could loft the left gutter. He could do everything in between while being incredibly powerful. So I wanted to kind of blend those two guys together. And whether I did it right or not, whatever. But I think I did as best a job as I could trying to form together the two guys that I grew up watching.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of things from Chris Barnes' game and tried to mimic them into my own just by watching.
I'd say it's gotten you pretty
Yeah, I'm doing
well
okay.
so far. You're doing okay.
I'm
yeah.
doing okay.
So we got a couple of questions here from Scotty Thompson. First is, what do you think about the new Rotogrip Duo?
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah, big fan.
Other one is the Rotogrip MVP Pearl. Now,
Okay.
that could be an issue for you coming up in 2024 with the new PBA ball rules, because obviously anything manufactured before August 1st, 2022, you won't be able to be allowed. But if it's still running like a high road, because a high road's been out for
Ever.
12
Yeah.
years now, 13.
Yeah.
So obviously it can't be. They'll have the serial numbers on the ball when it was made. But if it was a high road manufactured September of 2022, you're good.
Yep.
So
And so I'll just tell you what I like about the Duo.
okay,
It's that it's unique, right? It actually reminds me a lot of like the original Marvel Pearl, where it was a really strong symmetrical pearl that wasn't like super whippy down lane, but you could throw it on anything, right?
Okay.
People threw that ball on everything. And that's what I really like about the Duo is you can throw it on just about everything that I have bowled on since it has come out. I personally like mine pinned down just because the cover on it is really, really strong. And a lot of the places that we've bowled in have a lot of friction, so I don't need it to flare a whole lot. I didn't throw the MVP Pearl all that much. The one time that I did throw it was at the Lucy Doubles tournament back when it was new. And I threw that for, I think we bowled 6-game blocks. And then we bowled 8 games of match play. And I threw it for 12 of the 14 games.
okay.
And that was the one time that I threw it in a tournament. Other than that, it was too weak of a core for me to really throw all the time.
Gotcha. Let's see. JR Lifestyle is asking, what's your go-to ball when the lanes break down? Well, it obviously depends on parents, but you've had a chance to experience this 42-foot LBC National pattern. You were part of the introduction video that was released back in February, and you threw a few different shots on it. Knowing what you know then, now, what would be what do you think is going to be the first ball of your bag? And then to answer Jared's question, what would that next ball probably be?
Probably the first ball out of my bag is probably going to be a Phase 2 or a Reality, only because having bowled here before and being lucky enough to watch and everyone here being able to watch, you can see like once you get the ball up the lane a little bit, there's a lot of oil in that middle part of the lane. So I need something strong that's going to still eat through that oil and go through the pins well. Yeah. After that, it's probably going to go down to maybe a dark code or a reality check, something with a little bit of that middle of the road kind of hybrid or stronger pearl cover stock. Okay. And then from there would be a regular Zen or a Zen gold label, maybe something older like an Idol Pearl. Kind of that still stronger core, but a little bit weaker mid-range cover stock.
Okay. So don't forget, you get your chance to watch Kris Monday night with all the rest of the PBA Elite Pros. That squad, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. here at Bolero Wauwatosa. We got a question here from Con Fam. How would you compare the Duo to the Gold Label and the Cosmos? I'm assuming those are overseas releases?
No.
Oh,
The
I
Gold
missed
Label
those.
is the new Zen.
Oh, that's right, the new Zen.
New
Okay.
Zen. And the Idol Cosmos is one of the older balls. So I think I'm going to rank them as far as overall strength, meaning how early the ball starts to read the lane. The duo, in my opinion, is the strongest. Okay, front to back. It's going to start reading the lane the earliest. Then it's going to be, I haven't thrown the Zen Gold Label very much, but I think the Zen Gold Label is going to be the next option. Then it's going to be Idle Cosmos. But response to friction, meaning like how aggressive it's going to be down lane, I think it's going to be Zen Gold Label, then Idle Cosmos, then Duo.
Okay.
Right? So Duo is going to be the earliest and the smoothest of those three. Then it's going to be Idle Cosmos as far as reaction to friction, but it's going to be the weakest of them, so it's going to be really clean and smooth. Then it's going to be Zen Gold Label, which is going to be clean but really aggressive down lane.
Okay. I got to ask, how often do you get your brain picked by the people in Utah about what you think could be of addition to a line, what's missing in motion or asymmetrical, symmetrical, that type of thing? Do you guys on tour get your brains picked that often, or do they pretty much handle things in R&D in Utah?
They handle all that in Utah.
Okay.
I would love to. When growing up, I wanted to be a ball tester. I just wanted to throw bowling balls for a living and get paid to do it. And I'm very fortunate to do that. But originally, I wanted to just work for Storm or work for Brunswick or whoever it was and just throw bowling balls, right? That's all I wanted to do. And, if out of high school, they would have been like, look, Kris, we just want you to come and throw bowling balls for us. We'll pay you whatever. I would have been like, yes,
popcorn
please.
Popcorn or ramen?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
I still remember that article, yeah.
Yeah, and that would have been excellent, right? But they have so much knowledge in the R&D department with Hank Boomershine running all the development and Alex Hoskins starting to design a bunch of bowling balls. I mean, these guys are way smarter than me. If they ever ask me a question, I give them my honest opinion. Okay. And they're like, yeah, we see that too, blah, blah, blah. And anything that I tell them is typically they've already done it, and it was 6 months ago. Okay. Right? They do so much testing, and they want to make the best products possible. And obviously, being a Rotogrip staffer, I'm talking about Storm and Rotogrip and 900 Global, but I think that holds true for every company, right? No one wants to put out a bad bowling ball. So there's so much information and R&D that goes into making a bowling ball that's why it takes so long to come out with new products. And what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for the next guy, but every bowling ball has a purpose, and every bowling ball is designed to do a certain thing. So worst case scenario is you try it and you're like, oh, I already have something that kind of, does that similar shape or does that similar idea, and that's where I would use it. But what you now have is you have a ball that, you have a fresh cover and you have an older cover. Maybe you use the older cover for practice and you use the newer cover for tournaments. Gotcha. Right? And you create longevity within your equipment.
Charlie Mitchell says, see you tomorrow, Shark. Looking forward to the four-peat.
Hey.
You going to be here watching the bowl at 2 o'clock?
No, I will be on the golf course.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We talked about that earlier.
I will be on the golf course with Nicholas Pate.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
How's Nick's wrist doing? Is he still taping it up a bit too or something? Because that's another guy that's had some wrist issues the last couple of years.
I think his issue was actually a fit thing.
Okay.
He and I have been talking quite a lot about his fit issues and how the ball's coming off his hand because, in my opinion, the ball was not coming off his hand clean enough because he had too much forward pitch in the thumb, so it was holding on to his hand too long or holding on to his thumb too long, and he was having to create that thumb down motion and roll over the top of it and kind of flick it off his hand. So he was creating inconsistencies, and then with release, one obviously because he's flicking it off his hand, and then also inconsistencies with rev rate and direction. So I think a lot of that is getting settled, but he's also practicing a bunch. Obviously, Nick works out 6 days a week. Takes really good care of his body. So he's bowling Monday as well, and I'd look for him to bowl pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember last year he bowled a regional down in Peru, Illinois, and just made, last guy to advance and just tore through the field, took home the title.
Yeah.
Out of being the number. And it was a fun call that day for sure, no doubt.
Yeah.
Watching Nick tear up the field and match play in the step ladder.
Yeah, I would look for Nick to be, I keep watching him bowl. I keep seeing how good he throws it and how good his choices are.
Yeah.
I think once he figures out this fit thing, and I think he's on the right track. I think he's gotten to the point where it's pretty well fixed. He just has to get comfortable with it.
Okay.
I look for him to make cuts consistently and make runs at TV shows, and I think he's figured out the making the cut part. Now it's how do I make shows? He's made one show as a professional,
yeah.
and I keep looking for him to make more, and I think it boils down to when it comes to crunch time and he needs either a big game or he needs to get out of his own way and just let things happen. I think he tries to take too much control and instead of just bowling and letting everything go, right? And I think that's a big deal with a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's the mental chess game to go along with the physical chess game on the lanes with making the adjustments and the ball changes and all the other stuff. So, hey, everybody in YouTube land, thanks for the questions on the chat. We're going to be wrapping up our broadcasting day here on the PBA YouTube channel as we are in our sixth and final game. And Kris Prather is going to have to get the chauffeur hat on. Apparently, Dallas Young in a hurry to get out of here because now he's finally throwing strikes. No, I'm kidding, Dallas. No, he had some pairs where he just kicking. It's a hard thing to do here at Bolero. Get the corners out. Sometimes you make the adjustment. The 10 starts to go, and all of a sudden the 9s and 7s start staying.
Yep. So. And I don't know if you commented on it while I was down there coaching or not, but there's a gentleman in the field. I think he's on the high end right now, Mike Murtha. Looks like he's on 51 and 2 maybe.
Oh, let's see if we can find him here after Dallas throws this shot. That's a good one
68,
to leave Dallas on.
Yep. So 68 to finish, get to 13, almost 50.
Let's try 53 and 4.
So, yeah, Mike just finished. He's in the top right there.
Yep.
Shot 13:51, looks like.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, not too bad. He was the best man at my wedding.
Ah,
yeah.
Excellent.
So
so that was him and his wife. That was the young one.
No. That was Nick Powers' kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nick, also a really good friend of mine, Wichita bowler. Mike actually went to Wichita for 4 years as well. Nick bowled for Wichita for 4 years also. Yeah. And Michaela, Nick's wife, that she bowled for Wichita as well. Okay. And that was their kid, Nick and Michaela. So. Okay. My sister is super upset because she's their kid's name is Sebastian. She is Sebastian's godmother and hasn't had the opportunity to meet him yet. And I have been able to hold him and hang out with him twice. And I razz her a little bit every time I get to see him.
Well, Kris, hey, thanks for stopping in. Hopefully the golf course is good to you tomorrow. I know it'll be in good shape. I've played at that place before, and they'll take care of you. Well, they used to take care of you pretty good in the clubhouse, but they changed the clubhouse now where it's just like a snack bar. So,
as long as I got snacks,
deck, yeah.
As long as I got snacks, the golf course is in good shape, and I birdie the first 18 holes. I'll be happy.
He's Kris Prather. I'm $2 Phil. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll have Frankie Lavoie in here with us for the 2 p.m. squad, 3 p.m. Eastern time, your start time, for the final squad of the 2023 PBA LBC National Championships. Thanks, Kris, for sitting in.
Thanks, absolutely. We'll see you later.